The Trump administration is greenlighting a nearly $600 million sale of high-tech attack planes to Nigeria. The goal is to shore up the West African nation's ability to fight Boko Haram and other extremists, despite U.S. concerns about human rights abuses by Nigerian security forces. For more perspective on this, we have joining us on Skype from London social commentator Jermaine Sanwoolu. Thank you for joining us, Jermaine. Now, this is some sort of cheery news, but then there are concerns as to the human rights record. How much of an impact will this have on the fight against Boko Haram? And is there something to worry about, especially concerning the human rights record?
Well, thanks a lot for having me today. Well, as you rightfully said, there are some concerns that the American government actually had about giving Nigeria those fighter jets. You may remember that Barack Obama's administration actually put a hold on it because of human rights allegations of abuses. The Amnesty International actually said that Nigeria committed up to 8,000 extrajudicial killings during that time of the Boko Haram insurgency, and that is a real concern. And even right now, we are seeing a lot of things happening in that region. But what we are looking forward to is a situation whereby Nigerian government can address those concerns. And just as the U.S. State Department has informed the Congress, there's a 30-day review period. I'm sure that Nigerian government is actually going to address all those concerns. And for the Trump administration to actually give a green light on this is a good sign for the Nigerian fight against insurgency.
Well, Jermaine, apparently you will agree that the help coming from the $600 million sale of high-tech attack planes coming to Nigeria at the moment is coming at the right time. But looking at the spate of attacks in recent times, are we back at ground zero? Because in the last 1 month or thereabout, the attacks have been so consistent.
Yes. Well, we are not back to ground zero, because you can remember just some few years ago, it was actually very, very terrible. We know that the Boko Haram actually had a lot of foothold in the Sambisa forest, and they took a chunk of the northeast region of Nigeria and Maiduguri. A lot of local governments were actually captured by them. They are just trying to intensify efforts right now to actually show that they actually mean business. But that's because of the pressure the Nigerian military is actually putting on them right now. As you know, there are two factions of Boko Haram right now. The Alburuni's faction, which ISIS is actually backing, and also the Shekau's faction, which is less organized but also potent, having done strikes that have killed up to 113 people since June. So we see the recent attack by the Albani faction on the 37 people that were killed during the north, the south region, the oil exploring team that were actually killed. 7 people were kidnapped there. So we see Boko Haram is rising, but we can actually ensure that we actually defeat them with this equipment. Close to $600 million worth of equipment. Is not only going to be equipment alone in form of the A-29 bomber that is actually coming, Tornado bomber that's actually coming to actually help Nigeria. There's also going to be providing logistic supports on the ground and also training for our military personnel to actually fight and carry out this counter-insurgency attack effectively.
Earlier you spoke about the human rights, improving the human rights record, and that you would want the government and the Nigerian army to address this issue head on. How would you want them to address this now, seeing that we have a green light coming from the U.S. so they can have more confidence in the Nigerian army?
Well, the Nigerian government has to be very, very transparent, as they are purporting to be right now. And we know that just some few months ago, late last year, where there were 230 people killed in a camp, mistakenly by the Nigerian armed forces in the border between Cameroon and Nigeria. And that really affected Nigeria's image, and one of the reasons why Obama actually halted that. But right now, the Nigerian government is actually being more transparent. They're actually letting the international community of the Red Cross come to actually assess assess what they are doing, and they are saying that Nigeria is actually doing better. But most especially, the Defense and Security Cooperation Agency in America is saying that Nigeria has to step up its game in actually trying to fight, actually ensure that human rights violations are not being spread, because they say that Nigeria is a strategic partner with the U.S. when it comes to U.S. national security and ensuring peace and stability in the region. That's why they're actually providing training when it comes to armed conflict laws, when it comes to air to land interventions to avoid civilian casualties. So they are doing a lot to ensure that Nigerian army is actually knowledgeable when it comes to human rights violations, human rights laws, to ensure that they do not do this. So the American government is not leaving it all to the Nigerian government, which is trying to be more transparent. They are also ensuring that $600 million is going to training and reorientation of our armed forces.
All right, Jermaine, let me ask you this now. The Nigerian army has been given 40-day ultimatum to get Abubakar Shekau either alive or dead. Knowing full well how long it has taken to get him, do you think that this is feasible within the time frame?
Well, they are going to just try their best to try and do that. This is someone who has been, conducting attacks in 2009, and the question we need to ask is that is Abubakar Shekau the only threat? As I said earlier, when it comes to al-Biruni, which is actually another threat, the Boko Haram is now split into two factions. So you may capture Shekau, but the other one is going to rise up and keep on doing much damage, as we can see that his faction can actually do. They are more organized, they are more strategic. So let's see how it goes. Let's know. Also, we must know that this equipment that the Nigerian government is actually going to receive through this deal with the American government is not going to come, it's not going to be initiated till after 30 days of the review period. So there's a lot of time for this equipment to come, and it may not be actually useful in catching that man, Shekau, at this point in time. But let's hope that they can do something. Let's be optimistic, patriotic, but it's going to be a tough one for them to do.
All right, social commentator Jermaine Sanwoolu, thanks for your time on TVC News Hour.
Thanks for having me.